चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथमय्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवे प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। I am very grateful to be back at this very holy, beautiful ashram here in the islands of the Bahamas. And special gratitude to Swami Swarupanandaji, Radhanath, Swamiji, and all of the leaders, Shankarji, of this ashram for so kindly inviting me back. Actually, in this entire creation, there's no place I'd rather be at this moment than right here, in this little paradise island. We learn from the great sages, the holy scriptures, that there's a paradise island within each and every one of us. I was asked to speak about Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his life and teachings. This is a very unlimited subject matter. There is one biographer of Lord Caitanya, Vrindavan Das Thakur, And he explains, trying to describe the pastimes, the activities, the teachings, the grace of Lord Caitanya is like a bird trying to fly across the entire sky. If we take the entire sky, not only this universal sky, but the entire spiritual sky, how much can a little bird cover? But still, according to our capacity, we try. And that is really the perfection of our life. Sri Caitanya is described in the Vedic literatures as a great avatar, sometimes called the golden avatar. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna taught the summary substance of the knowledge of all the Vedas, in fact, of all the great scriptures of the world. And he culminates in the 18th chapter, Sarva dharman purityasya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papibhyo mokshayishyami vasaja. That abandon all sectarian religious concepts and just surrender to the supreme truth, the absolute truth, the one God. And Krishna says, and I will protect you from all reactions of whatever you may have done in the past. Do not fear. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very comprehensively describes from the very basic, elementary subjects of spirituality to the highest, deepest truths. In the second chapter, he begins by telling us who we are. Within the world we live in, we can get a grade school diploma, a high school diploma, a college degree, a master's degree, a PhD degree, and I know people who have 3 or 4 or 5 PhD degrees. And we can get Nobel Prizes and never really ask the question, who am I? Why am I suffering? What is really the purpose and the meaning of life? Krishna tells in Gita, this is the real beginning of spiritual life, to ask this question. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The Brahma Sutra tells, human life really begins when we ask, who am I? What is the absolute truth? What is the real purpose of life? Dehinosmin yatadehi komaram yovaramjara tatadeham taraptaktir dhirastatra namuyate. Krishna explains that we are the living force that animates the body and witnesses life through the mind. We see through the eyes and taste through the tongue and hear through the ears and feel through the flesh, smell through the nose, think through the brain, love through the heart. Who am I? Describes we are the Atma, the spirit soul, or the living force. And that living force, Krishna explains, is passing through so many phases within this lifetime of ours. At one time, we're an embryo. Do any of you remember what you were doing at that time? But that was you, even though you don't remember. And then you're a little baby, and you come out and you don't know who you are or where you are. All you know is you're absolutely, completely dependent on the love of your mother. That's really all you know as a baby. And when there's danger, you cry for your mother. And when your mother picks you up and holds you, you feel protected. And without her, bewildered. How many of you remember those days? We see it in every baby. Then we go through childhood, then adolescence, youth. Then we start getting middle age. Then you get old. That's about where I am now, I think. And then we get older. And then we get older. My father, he is 88 years old. And I was with him a few weeks ago. And he always told me that he remembers things that he did when he was just a little boy. Usually you remember the mischievous trouble you got in. The nice, sweet things, somehow or other, are easily forgotten. But even those become sweet over the years. But he says this whole 88 years that I've been living, it seems like just a few days. It just goes, it's a flash. It goes so fast. The mystical power of time. Isn't time incredible? The Gita also explains, I'm going to get back to where I was, but the Gita explains the nature of time. It is so subtle. We cannot see it. We cannot touch it. Cannot smell it or taste it. Can't see it even with the best microscopes or the strongest telescopes. But yet, time is ever working. It's in the process of turning the sun into ashes, turning the earth and all the planets into dust, drying the oceans, even this one. In due course of time, it will all be gone. Not to speak of our little lifetimes, little flash. So the Gita tells us that the Atma, the soul, is passing through all these different phases of life, and at the time of death, it passes into another phase. Najayate mriyate vakadachit nayam bhutva bhavata bhava. That the soul is neither born nor dies. It's eternal. Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. The Gita tells that every soul is part and parcel, a spark of God. Like a spark, a ray of the sun to the sun. Simultaneously one with the sun and a part of God. Sacred, divine, qualitatively identical. Every ray of the sun gives off heat and light as the sun does. So we are immortal. We are eternal. This is the first fundamental principle of the Bhagavad Gita. And how, according to the choices we make within this embodied life that we're in, we come under the various controls of karma. Karma is a law of nature, just like what goes up must come down. It's the law. It's gravity. Whether you believe it or not, still it comes down. So similarly, there are laws in which nature has been created. Karma is the law of action and reaction. It's a universal principle. In the Bible it is said, as you sow, so shall you reap. Or as they say in New York, what goes around comes around. It's very philosophical, that statement. And the way karma works, it's not just the physical actions and reactions that we become implicated in. It's the mental conditionings. Whenever we do something, we become conditioned toward the inclination toward that. It's like little children. They're not born to smoke cigarettes. Usually it's miserable. When a person first starts smoking, it's not nice. But because everyone else is doing it, it looks cool. It looks romantic. It looks heroic. It looks feminine. It looks masculine. It's amazing how advertisements can convince you of things. And the movie stars are doing it. And the big heroes of my life. I remember my guru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Prabhupada. He was driving in 1966 in a car, and he saw a big billboard for a cigarette. It said, refreshingly menthol cool. Be cool and smoke cool. He's coming from a holy place, Vrindavan in India. And he looks up very innocently, like a wise little child. He said, they're telling you that if you suck fire into your mouth, it's going to be cool. And everybody believes it and pays their good money for it. But anyways, when you first smoke, it's miserable. But if you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, the longer you do it, the more you become habituated to do it. Similarly, alcohol or drugs. The more we do these things, the more we become conditioned. Mentally, we depend on it. Physically, we crave for it. That's the way, actually, the world works. When we do whatever deeds we do, we're conditioning ourselves to do it again and again and again and again and again. And sometimes due to previous births of cultivating certain types of desires, when we start growing up, we just have these unbelievably burning desires. Sometimes for prestige, sometimes for sex, sometimes for nice things. Like music. We condition ourselves. Speaking of music, I'm just going to go on a little sidetrack. Just recently I was in Moscow. And I was at this one, I was doing all these events. Wonderful people. And I had one event at this beautiful, old house. And I spoke, I did some kirtan, and then the owner of the house who invited us invited me into the secret back room. And I went in, it was like a museum. It had incredible sculptures and paintings and priceless gifts from all over the world. Do you want to hear the story? And what it was is this person's great-grandfather was the greatest, most famous opera star in all of Moscow. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. And wherever he would sing, people, heads of state, would give him all these gifts. And his best friend gave him a very special gift. This best friend of his gave him his own grand piano. And his friend's name was Rachmaninoff. He gave him his old grand piano as a gift. And he used to go, Rachmaninoff used to go, and he used to play the piano and they would sing. Kind of like, classical jam sessions or something. He would regularly come over and play, and this man would sing to these classical compositions. So he asked me if I wanted to play it. So I played the Maha Mantra. You may want to know that. And actually, as I was playing, I felt a certain Shakti coming through my fingers. Maybe I'll become musical someday. So this is the way karma works. The particular nature of what species we're born in, what our inclinations are very much according to the samskaras or the conditionings that we create earlier in this life and in previous lives. Sometimes people, well, if I had previous lives, why don't I remember? Well, how much do you remember when you were 1 year old? Nothing. This was before that. We don't remember that much. But we can understand by principles. We can understand in principle how I am what I am today. And what's most important is we can understand where we could go and how to get there. I remember one time, so I live in Mumbai, India. I got malaria. How many of you have had malaria? Please raise your hands. It's quite a few. Anyways, mine was really quite intense. But, devotees could be pretty philosophical, and some devotees are doctors. Do you know where you were, which mosquito, where it bit you? I don't know. Just give me the medicine. We may not know where we were, which mosquito, which part of the body, what the mosquito looked like, or any of these other things, but we know because we have malaria, we got bit by a mosquito. Yes? So we take the proper medicine and we take the proper precautions for next time. We don't need all the hard evidence. We have enough. So similarly, if we're enjoying or if we're suffering, we can understand that something I did, I may not remember what or where or how, but that's not important. What's important is to understand how things work. And understanding this is not meant to just judge ourselves and be depressed or judge others. Even babies who cry during class. I must have cried in a lot of people's classes. You might It's right for a past life, because I get it a lot. I must have been a real noisy baby. Wherever I go, it comes back to me. But anyways, what was I saying? Yes, karma. We can understand the principle. And the purpose of understanding the principle, why is this knowledge revealed to us? Not just so that we can understand. What's the use of understanding if it doesn't create an impetus to transform our life? The Gita tells jnana vijnana tritatma. There's two types of knowledge. There's theoretical knowledge and there's realized knowledge. When we actually take theoretical knowledge and put it into practice in our sadhana, and our sadhana is meant to give us the strength, the wisdom, the grace by which we can apply these principles and make the right choices moment after moment after moment throughout our whole life. Without transformation, knowledge It's like you have a map. If you want to drive from New York to Los Angeles, and you can memorize the map. You can give lectures with all authority on the map. You can know every exit, every town, where to go, where the gas stations are. But if you don't get in your car and start driving and following the map, what is the use? The whole purpose of a map is to get you somewhere. So understanding these laws of nature, like karma, is to help us to really make the right choices. And the Gita is teaching us very philosophically, very scientifically, who I am, what my true potential is, and what the ultimate goal of life is and how we can achieve it. Krishna explains in the Gita, Yam yam vapi smaran vavam chichachante kalevaro. That what we remember at the time of death is what the soul is going to attain after leaving this body. But it's not that we can just decide now, well, I'll just do what I want now, and at the time of death I know the secret. The time of death, that moment, is such a crucial situation that what we cultivate in our consciousness most prominently in our life is going to appear as the last thought, as our state of consciousness at the time of death. Anta kali chamameva smaran vapakalevara. And Krishna tells one who remembers me at the time of death attains me without fail. Manmanabhavamat bhakto madhyashimna namaskar. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer homage unto me. And this way you will come to me without fail. It is my promise, my friend. So the knowledge of the Gita was presented to the world 5,000 years ago. But actually this knowledge is eternal. It is Sanatana Dharma. It is beyond time. It is beyond this creation. It is forever. The truth is forever. But it manifested to us in the form of Bhagavad Gita 5 millennia back. The Srimad Bhagavatam explains Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishna Sangopanga Shaparshanam Yogyai Sankirtana Prayai Yajantihi Sumedasha. There are many such quotations from the various Vedic literatures explaining how in this age of Kali, Krishna comes again, but not with a deep complexion like a monsoon cloud. Comes with a different complexion. And in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a beautiful explanation that there, in every yuga, there is an avatar, yuga avatar. He has come with a white complexion in Satya Yuga, with a red complexion in Treta Yuga. Now he's coming in a dark complexion, and he comes in Kali Yuga with a golden complexion. So Lord Caitanya is the avatar. He is Krishna himself, who comes into this world, into this age of Kali, for the purpose of teaching us practically very simple way of following the Bhagavad Gita that actually anyone could do. From the most profound philosophers, ascetics, swamis, yogis, and rishis, to common housewives, students, and people with families and jobs. Everyone can attain the ultimate perfection of life in this age of Kali. but purifying the heart through chanting God's names. Lord Chaitanya taught, he is Krishna who took the role of a devotee to teach us how to be a devotee. And who knows better how to be a devotee of God than God? So he's teaching himself. My Gurudev Srila Prabhupada, he would say, it's like a school teacher who's teaching the alphabet. The school teachers at the blackboard teaching the students, now when you want to make an A, you make a horizontal, what is it? What is it? Diagonal. Yeah, I've been out of school for so few years. You make a diagonal line this way, then you make a diagonal line this way, and then you cross between. So he's teaching a whole exercise. Now the teacher doesn't need to have to go through that exercise. He or she knows how to do it. It's going through the exercise just to teach the students. So the speaker of the Gita comes to teach us practically in everyday life, this is how we can follow. And Lord Chaitanya taught, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Satya Kabulai Sravanadi Sudichiti Koriye Udai. When I heard this verse, I thought, how beautiful. It means praying. Ecstatic love. Ecstatic love for God, the all-beautiful, all-attractive, all-loving Lord. That love is within the heart of every living being. It is the nature of the Atma. And when that love is realized within, it manifests as unselfish, pure compassion toward all living beings. Lord Chaitanya taught, when you love God, you cannot but love every living being, because you see the divinity within everyone. The ahankar, the false ego, is like a cloud that may cover the sun of the light of the soul from ourselves and from others. But still, we know the sun is behind that cloud. Even though that cloud may be creating torrential hurricanes and storms here in the Bahamas, or wherever we may be, still we know behind it there's the sun. So similarly, the cloud of ego can make people quite stormy. Sometimes we become so angry, so envious, so lusty, so arrogant. Sometimes even in the name of religion, which is meant to make us humble, we become so arrogant. Mine is the only way. If you don't believe, you're simply pollution that must be discarded. What kind of arrogance? Hate. And we have seen tyrants. When I was in Moscow, this one man was showing me this place just a block from where I was giving a lecture at a television station. And before the show, it was an hour show, talk show, he was showing me that building over there is where Stalin kept all of his ministers, and every day he would have them march in, take one out, and kill them. According to this person, he killed over 25 million of his own people. Unbelievable. But deep down behind that massive cloud of ego that's creating so much storm and lightning and thunder is the sun. Is a pure soul. Therefore, it is said, hate the sin, but not the sinner. We have to deal with it on a practical level. We have to stop injustice. But at the same time, we should do it with knowledge. within the heart of every living being is ecstatic love. As we speak in the next few days, we're going to be talking many of the attributes and teachings that Lord Caitanya presented to this world. The first of his written document, the Shikshastakam, is Chaitodarapanam Marjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvana Sraya Karava Chandra Kavitarvam Vidyapituji Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Punamardasvaradam. This Anandam Buddhivardhanam, it means what we're all looking for is pleasure. The Brahma Sutra tells Ananda Mayobhyashat. We all have something in common. We're seeking pleasure. From the little ant that's crawling around seeking pleasure, to the elephant looking for pleasure. And every one of us, whatever our sex, whatever our nationality, whatever our religion or not religion, whatever we may be, we're looking for pleasure. What is the origin of that need for pleasure? Satchidananda. The Atma, the soul, is eternal, Sat, Chit, full of knowledge, and Ananda, full of happiness. That's our nature. And from the school of Bhakti's perspective, that Ananda is tasting the sweetness of the infinite love of God and loving Krishna around. That one supreme has many names. Lord Chaitanya taught us that the ecstasy, the happiness that we're all looking for is this prema, this universal, unlimited love that is within us. And he quotes from the Srimad Bhagavad that if you water the root of the tree, automatically the nourishment that goes to the root reaches every part of the tree. All the flowers, twigs, branches, leaves. In the same way, when we offer our love to Bhagavan within our own hearts, then naturally that love extends to every living being, unconditionally. Vidyavanaya Sampani Brahmani Kavyasti Sunichaiva Swapakricha Pandita Samadarshana. The Bhagavad Gita explains who is Pandit, who is actually knowledgeable. Knowledge is not about getting a PhD. Knowledge is, from the Gita's perspective, is not even about learning the holy scriptures and memorizing thousands and thousands of slokas and giving enthralling, breathtaking lectures. Real knowledge, wisdom, is the capacity to see every living being with equal vision. What greater need is there in the world? The Gita says whether one is a Brahmin, a very pure-hearted priest, or whether one has no caste, has no title, is illiterate, or whether one is male or female, black or white or red or yellow or brown, whether one is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Jew or a Jain or a Christian or a Parsi or a Sikh or an agnostic or an atheist, whether one is an elephant or a cow or a dog or a cat, wherever there's life, it is sacred to see our beloved Lord in our own heart and to witness aham bija pratapita, that every living being is a child. The Lord is the mother and the father of everyone. And to see creation in that way also. Yat karoshi rashnasi yachtohoshi tadasya. Sarva loka maheshwaram. This means that everything is the energy of the Absolute. There are so many different varieties varieties of energies emanating from the absolute truth. And therefore, when we have this consciousness, we can see our beloved everywhere. One time my Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, was asked, how do we see God everywhere? And he said, when you see my spectacles, my glasses, what do you think? That's the person said, oh, when I see your glasses, I think these are Srila Prabhupada's glasses. He said, what do you feel? He said, I think of you and I just feel so much love and gratitude toward you. He said, so you're seeing me just by seeing the glasses because of its connection, that love is awakening? He said, yes. He said, when we understand everything is emanating from the Lord, that whatever we see our beloved. And our ecstasy, our love awakens. Lord Caitanya explained that that is our nature. That is our highest potential. It doesn't have to be gotten. It simply has to be awakened from within ourselves. And that is what Dharma, Sanatana Dharma is. To awaken, to understand our own essential, eternal nature. To remove the coverings of the ego. Lord Caitanya taught that the mind is like a mirror. And when you look in the mirror, what are you supposed to see? Myself. But what happens if the mirror is covered with layers and layers and layers of dust? All we see is the dust. This chanting of God's names and living in a spirit of seva, of unselfish service. The essence of yoga, to transcend the ego and live in a spirit of true compassion. We cleanse the mirror of the mind and we actually see. We see that shining sun of love within our own hearts. And we radiate that love through our every word, our every action, our every thought. Lord Caitanya appeared 500 years ago, a little more, specifically in 1486 by our calendar. He was, from a historical perspective, a saint that really created spiritual evolution. At his time, India was so entrenched in the sectarian, mundane interpretation of a caste system. Actually, at the time of Lord Buddha, he saw that the so-called Brahmins or teachers were so much manipulating the whole society because they were born in a certain way. They were interpreting the Vedas according to their own egos and exploiting people miserably. And according to the Vedic literatures of Srimad Bhagavatam, Buddha is an avatar. And he appeared and he said, don't even think about the Vedas. They're too misinterpreted. Just follow what I'm going to say. And he taught peace, self-control, compassion. When Lord Caitanya appeared in 1486, as he grew, at that time India was so entrenched in this caste system that if you weren't born in a privileged family, you had no rights to even practice religion. That's the way the Hindus were. And at the same time, India was under a Mughal emperor. And there was so much persecution. It was really a difficult time. Sri Caitanya, he just so powerfully crushed the sectarian, oppressive caste system. In fact, he made such a statement that the chanting of God's names is considered the most powerful, recommended, simple process in this age of Kali to awaken the prema within our heart. He made the supreme acharya, or master and teacher of the chanting of the name, a person that came from an untouchable family. This shook the misconceptions, it shook the society to its very roots. He was very fearless. When it came to political oppression, we all know Mahatma Gandhi. He practiced this civil disobedience without violence. Sri Chaitanya originated the civil disobedience movement without violence. He took the common people, no weapons, just armed with faith, armed with the holy name of God, completely overturned the oppression, the sectarianism of the empire that he lived in. Sri Chaitanya, he taught universal principles of spirituality. In one of the Shikshastakam verses, number 2, he tells Nam Namakari Bahudamija Sarva Shaktis. That, my Lord, your name is so powerful. It can purify, it can cleanse the heart. It can awaken the original love and pleasure that's within us. And you have so many names that have been revealed over time through different traditions, through different religions, through different times and places, according to different avatars and revelations. You have many, many names, but they are all just like the sun. The sun planet, in America we call sun. In Mexico, Sol. In India, not long ago I was at Kanyakumari. And there were hundreds of people who came there to see the sunset. Kanyakumari is where two oceans meet. It's the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea. Sometimes they're actually crashing into each other. And it's very, very special. It's the southern tip of India. And it's supposed to be one of the nicest sunsets. But actually, the Bahamas is just as nice. Tonight was beautiful. But the sun, it's actually really an incredible, mystical sunset at Kanyakumari. And all these people are watching. You know, some people go to the movies and watch like this. Some people go on television, they're just watching the sun like this. Everyone was, and the sun was going down, 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 down. And when the last sliver entered the sea, everyone together went, Surya Dev Ki Jai! And every Jai! So in India, Surya. It's the same sun, giving out the same light. The sun's not sectarian. Whatever names we call it. It's not that it's an Indian sun when it rises in India, or it's an American sun when it rises in America. It's the sun. It's rising different times to different people. So the Lord has many names. But the Lord has invested infinite divine qualities within those names. If only we could chant with a sincere heart, gradually it is revealed to us. He quoted from Srimad Bhagavat, Savai Pung Samparo Dharma Yatobhakta Bhakshaya Hoitaki Aprati Hataya Yatma Suprasidati. What is real Dharma? What is real spiritual practice? Or what people may call religion? It's not according to the Bhakti tradition, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, according to Lord Chaitanya. It's not about being a Hindu or a Muslim or a Jew or a Jain or a Sikh or a Parsi or a Zoroastrian or whatever it may be. It's real religion is to awaken that love for God within our hearts and to express that love through unselfish service to the Lord, to every living being, according to our capacity, according to our nature. We'll be telling beautiful stories. I'm just giving a little introduction. We'll be telling stories in the next week and explaining various beautiful teachings that have been revealed through these stories. How this love of God can be manifested through a little 4-year-old girl, or through the same experience through the greatest scholar and the guru of an entire kingdom. They both attained the same realization. There is no privileged class in real spirituality. All that's required is our sincerity. This was Lord Chaitanya's revolution. And we're out of time. But tomorrow morning we'll describe the beautiful, beautiful lesson we learn through the wonderful history of his appearance within the world and how he taught incredible, essential lessons to humanity when he was a tiny little baby and when he was a child. And when I was asked to speak about Lord Chaitanya, it wasn't my idea. Swami, I was very happy. And Swamiji, thank you so much for being with us and blessing us with this opportunity. And we'll continue at 6:30 tomorrow morning, is it?
Song starts at 6.
6 o'clock. Okay, so we'll continue at 6:00.